Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to another self-directed IRA Saturday with Quest Trust Company. Quest Trust Company, your voice for all things alternative investment education. My name is Kurt Power. I am an IRA specialist. I'm also the business development manager here at Quest Trust. Got a great guest for you all today. My very good friend, 10 plus years I've known this woman and her entire family. The incomparable Isabelle Guarino, Residential Assisted Living Academy. Going to teach you guys everything you need to know about how to do good, do well, while being extremely profitable, giving back to your community, and solving a problem within the residential assisted living area. So before we get started, just real quick, I'm going to roll through one slide for you. Disclaimer. This presentation and really everything that we do at Quest Trust Company is just that, for your education. We don't provide any tax, legal, investment advice, or structuring. We don't endorse any products, services of any kind. We highly encourage you, whether you're using an IRA or not, to do your due diligence. Do your due diligence on the investment that you're looking at doing, but very importantly, make sure you're also doing your due diligence on any potential partners. Consult your CPA, tax attorneys, your lawyers. Make sure that give you the confidence that the investment you're going to do is the best interest of you, and if you're using your IRA especially, in the best interest of your IRA. So with that, I'm going to bring to the stage my good friend, Isabelle Guarino. Isabelle, how are you?
I'm great. I'm so excited to be here.
Likewise, you and I, we're kind of grizzled veterans at this point in time. We both broke into the industry about 10 plus years ago. I came in 14. I think you came in 15 or 16, but there are certain people in my life that have been constants in my career, and you and your family have been constants in mine. I always learn something new when we're talking about this particular area of real estate, because the do good, do well thing that I mentioned, quoted by your father, the legendary Gene Guarino. What a great man. So I could talk all day and pump you guys up, but I'm going to let you do that. I'm going to get off here. We have one of our very best people in Quest moderating today, Kamea. So if you have your questions, list them in the chat. Here's how the structure is. I'm going to get off here, quit talking. Isabelle's going to give her presentation. I'll have some announcements, some things that are coming up for Quest and some things to make you aware of. And then we'll do the Q&A at the very end. So with that, looking forward to it. Isabelle, take it away, my friend.
All right, here we go, you guys. I am excited to be here with you. I hope you guys can see my screen because I cannot see you. So hopefully everything is looking good. If it's not, somebody holler at me. But I'm really excited to be here with you guys today, sharing about my absolute favorite subject and alternative investment strategy, residential assisted living. So if you have ever been, thinking about what's going to happen to you or your loved ones if and when you need assisted living care, and maybe you're looking for an alternative investment strategy, this could be kind of the perfect combination of those two worlds coming together. Today, we're going to cover how to start, own, and operate your own RAL home to create purpose, security, and wealth in your own life. And I'm happy to stick around for questions at the end. I'm not sure if you guys know this, but we were recently written up in Forbes talking all about how investing in residential assisted living is a great idea in this era of growing need for elderly housing. Just make sure you're using the right entities to protect yourself. And it was an article that was written all about how to protect yourself in this industry, because truly, just like Kurt was saying, right? Quest is an amazing company that can say, hey, there's so many great ways you can invest, but you have to make sure that you're doing it the right way. So I want to share with you how we can do that. But why is right now the best timing for senior housing? It does not feel like good timing for a whole lot of things. When we look at different investing strategies, especially with real estate, interest rates are up, inflation is happening, things are getting more and more expensive every single day. And sometimes it doesn't feel like now's the right time to buy or to jump into something. But if you guys aren't aware, the baby boomers have been driving our economy for the last 70 plus years. And this is your final chance to take advantage of the trends that they create. It's their final wave goodbye. The world looked very different in 1950 than it's projected to look in 2050 or 2060. That 85 plus demographic is the fastest growing demographic on planet Earth today. They are coming and we cannot stop them, right? This is something that's inevitable. But what we're talking about with residential assisted living is disrupting the senior housing industry. kind of like what Uber did to taxi or what Airbnbs did to hotels. We're saying no more are big box facilities the only option. No more is that where people want to go or what's going to be acceptable in this market. Currently, the silent generation lives in assisted living. There was about 47 million of them. The baby boomers, 76 million in that generation. That's who's to come in the next 10, 20 years into assisted living. You guys, timing has never been better. So why now? Look ahead. We've got a massive influx of seniors, and we're currently 1.3 million beds short. Well, what's going to change this year? I think sometimes we can drive ourselves crazy thinking about what's going to change, right? Politically, what's going to happen, economically, what's going to happen, in your own life, what's going to happen. I was just reading today how Google laid off a whole ton of people, and it was like, oh my goodness, like COVID, we just watched that completely change our lives over the last, couple of years. I would drive myself crazy if that's all I focused on. So I like to turn to the other side of the coin and say, what's not going to change? That's what I want to bet on. Something with more safety, more security, more inevitability. Raise your hand if you're getting older and know someone who is. I mean, we're all aging and we can't stop this, you guys. Uh, no matter what the economy looks like, no matter who is in office, if you need assisted living care, you need it. You need it now. This isn't like, hey, mom, wait, I just got laid off from my job. Hold on. No, 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 no. This is inevitable. And it's kind of one of those things that when recessions have been happening, it's one of those markets that has relatively stayed recession proof because of that, because of the inevitability of it. And you can't just say, hey, stop aging for a second. The world doesn't look so good right now. That's not how this works. Just like Kurt shared, our company motto is to do good and do well, because yes, there is a lot of opportunity for cash flow in this industry, but there's also a big opportunity to make an impact, to help people, to provide amazing jobs and create a beautiful environment for seniors who really need your help, care, and assistance. So it's that equal balance of doing good and doing well. Personally, our journey began with a phone call. My grandmother fell and she broke her hip. The doctor called and said she cannot go home alone. She needs 24/7 care and help with her activities of daily living. Some of you have received that phone call and you know what that feeling is like, and it's not a good feeling, you guys. All of a sudden, you're faced with this situation. What are you going to do? Is one of you going to quit your job and go take care of grandma full time? Are you going to get an in-home caregiver, someone to come and live with her in the home and take care of her 24/7? Or are you going to put her into a home? And as soon as you say it, you get that pit in your stomach. You don't feel good. You're like, oh, I promised I wouldn't. But the reality is that people are facing this decision every single day. And it's exactly what happened to me and my family for my beloved grandmother, Marie. She was mother to 7, grandmother to 40 of us grandkids. She cared for her husband until his last days. She cared for her mother until her last days. She deserved the best of the best, and we weren't going to settle for anything less. We searched and we searched for something suitable for her in upstate New York, where she was living at the time. And you guys, every single facility we went into smelled bad. The food was bad. The care was subpar. They were expensive and they had waiting lists. We were disgusted with these options, and we knew that there had to be something better. We were living in Arizona at the time, and we said, hey, a lot of snowbirds come here. A lot of older people flock here. And let's see if there's better options here. We stumbled into residential assisted living, and my dad, like Kurt mentioned, he's kind of the godfather of residential assisted living. He did quick math and realized, wait. We're going to be paying $5,000 a month for her to live in one of these homes, or I could own the home, own the business. She could live for free, and I could be cash flowing $10,000 a month. Makes a whole lot of sense to get into this industry rather than just be a consumer of it. And so right then and there, he found a home that he wanted to purchase. He purchased the real estate, purchased the business. We were up and running, cash flowing, with the intent to move my grandmother in. She passed before we could, but those homes became a set of inspiration for us and a real reason to get started in this industry. My dad always used to say, I guarantee you're going to get involved in senior housing one way or the other. The reality is either you are going to be lying in the bed or writing the check for someone who is, or you could be owning the real estate and or owning the business, cash flowing and having a place for your loved ones if and when they ever need home care and assistance. Today, I want to share with you the 5 keys to success in residential assisted living, as well as for my more passive investors on the line today. I want to talk about how you can become a preferred real estate provider. Who am I and why should you listen to me? Kurt gave me a great intro there. I'm the COO of Residential Assisted Living Academy, was named top senior housing influencer, and I'm the lead educator at RAL Academy. I built 8 companies over the last 10 years. I'm a 2 times best-selling author of Living Legacy and Young Boss, and the host of the Young Boss and the Assisted Living Network podcast. You know, this isn't about me. It is about you today, and I do want to focus on that. So let's get down to brass tacks. How much do you need every single month to cover your monthly personal expenses? I mean, think about it for real. You don't have to write me in the chat. I know this is a personal number, but if you don't know this number right off the top of your head, think about it. The house, the cars, the kids, the food, the fun. I mean, all in. If you had a check coming in every single month with this dollar amount written on it, you could take that deep breath. Spend time with who you want. Donate to what you want. Live where you want. Buy what you want. Sell what you want. Donate, whatever the case is. I'm blessed to share on this topic all across the country. And the number one response that I've been getting is $10,000 a month. If you just had a check for $10K a month coming in every single month, you could take that woo-saw breath, right? And if your number is more than this, if it's 2 times this, if it's 3 times this, that's A-okay. Because one residential assisted living home will get you there. So we're talking about 1, 2, or 3 properties. That is it. This isn't some, a huge apartment building with 300 units. That's not what we're talking about. But why residential assisted living? Well, maybe you're starting to see the demographics. It's unstoppable, you guys. They're coming and they need us. And there's a massive, shift in the market where the supply and demand aren't meeting. It's timing. The 20-year wave is starting right now, and it's inevitable. You're going to get involved one way or another. But right now, you have the choice as to how you get involved. I don't know if you know this, but Meg the Stallion went back to Texas Southern University to learn how to open an assisted living home. Why is a rapper getting involved in assisted living? Well, maybe she sees the writing on the wall. Tyler Perry launched a TV show called Assisted Living. He's bringing it to mainstream media. He knows that this is going to be a topic of conversation in the American household, and he wants to, be that new age Golden Girls with that TV show. Jimmy Buffett, rest in peace, he opened Margaritaville-themed retirement communities. I mean, I'm not even the biggest fan, but heck, yes, I want to live in paradise with Jimmy, right? Singing my songs and drinking margaritas all day. That sounds like a whole lot of fun. When we talk about the different options for single family home investing, obviously you can do a fix and flip. You buy a home, you renovate it, you sell it, you make that money one time, 20 to 100K. But as soon as you sell the home, you're out of the job. You've got to go get another one and do it again, and another one and do it again. And that sure looks like the rat race to me. This isn't cash flow, it's cash now. Rental homes, right, where you have a home and you're renting to a single family, you could be making a couple $100 a month. That is cash flow, but it's quite low. And to get to your freedom number, whatever that may be, you are going to need a lot of doors to get to that number. Because just 1 year of profit could be wiped if the AC or the roof goes out or there's a leak or whatever the case. It can be tight margins. Group homes. Some of you have a heart for those who have clean, sober recovery needs, developmentally disabled adults, battered women, foster kids who've aged out of the system. If that is where your heart is, I highly encourage you to go this direction. Serve this underserved population that your heart is calling to, and you can be cash flowing $1,000 a month or more with a group home. Airbnbs. I know if you follow us on social media, I throw a lot of shade at Airbnbs, but to be honest, I stay in them all the time. I have no problem with the concept of it. I just don't think it's a great investment strategy. At $2,000 a month or more, but you have cities like San Diego, Honolulu, Atlanta, Nashville practically shutting them down, making it impossible for the owners to be successful in this industry. It just doesn't seem like it's on the rise. It seems like it's on the decline. Pair that with companies like Marriott coming in, buying up entire neighborhoods, turning them into Airbnbs. You better believe they have more money, power, and resources than the solopreneur like you or I. So I'm not sure that that's where I want to invest. But owning and operating a residential assisted living home, bringing in $10,000 a month on the low end, if I had one single family home and I had to decide what to do with it, to me, it makes a whole lot of sense to go that route. Now, Proverb says, he who doesn't look ahead remains behind. You guys realize that senior housing is going to be one of the biggest crises that our country, our world, the baby boom was based on the World War, right, has ever faced, or one of the biggest opportunities that has ever landed in our laps. It all is up to you and what side of the coin you want it to flip on. Now, the average cost of care in our country today is $4,500 per month per resident. Some of you hearing that number are thinking, oh my goodness, I wish it was that much, right? I'm paying $8, $9, $10,000 a month for my loved one in a care home. And others of you are thinking, 4,500, that's outrageous. Who can afford that? And that's where we fall right in the middle. This includes all of our friends who are on government funding, as well as all of our friends who have high need and are in private pay. And the average is $4,500 per month. But what is residential assisted living? Simply, it's a group home for seniors that provides assistance with the ADLs, activities of daily living. This is everything you do from the moment you get up out of bed to the moment you go to bed at night, including brushing your hair or your teeth, eating food or taking medication, walking, bathing, toileting, getting out of bed or a chair. All of those different things, seniors typically need help with 3 to 5 ADLs by the time they move into assisted living. It is not a Brookdale, a Sunrise, an Atrium, a big facility, right, where your loved one is just a number. There's long hallways, impersonal staff. That is not what we're talking about. These are not big commercial buildings. But it's also not the opposite end of the spectrum. Golden Girls, 4 mature women living in a home who need minor help with landscaping or changing a light bulb. This is more independent living. We're talking about a residential home in a residential neighborhood, typically a single level home, but it can be multiple levels. You'll add in a chairlift, you'll add in an elevator to make it accessible for the seniors. These homes are in upscale parts of town. Now, when I'm saying single family, I do not mean a 3-bed, 2-bath, 1,200 square foot home. No, 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 no. These are luxurious, beautiful homes. Typically, you're going to be allowed to have somewhere between 6 and 16 seniors in the home. And the seniors, they want private bedrooms and bathrooms. So these are, some photos of our homes that we own. In Arizona, I'm limited to 10 residents in the home. This is a 10-bed, 10-bath home that you're looking at right here. Now, it didn't start that way. It started as a 6'5", and we converted it to become without adding on any square footage. But that's exactly what we show you how to do. Inside the home, the floors are smooth and clean. The furniture is age appropriate. In the bedrooms, there's beds, dressers, nightstands, tables, just like you or I may have in our own homes. In the bathrooms, there's things that make it safe for seniors, like ramps, handrails, guardrails, things that keep it nice and safe. And who's living in the home? None other than our adorable seniors just living out their golden years. I love this photo because you could see the caregiver sitting, enjoying, the celebration with the residents. And to me, that means so much because I don't know if any of you have loved ones in a big facility, but you'll never see a scene like this happening there. And it's not because their caregivers don't care and ours magically do. It's because in a big facility, the ratios are typically 30 seniors to 1 caregiver. That is not okay, you guys. One person cannot take care of 30 people, let alone 20 people, let alone 10 people. In our homes, it's a 4-to-1 or 5-to-1 ratio. So these seniors are actually getting attention, love, quality care. The difference is vast. And listen, we want to celebrate these seniors through everything, whether it's St. Patrick's Day, Valentine's, Thanksgiving, a birthday, an anniversary, any sort of holiday. We're going hard because they deserve it. But what do you really want? Do you want to feel good about your investments and be proud of the work you do? Do you want to have enough income to live the life you've always dreamed of? Do you want appreciating assets or to leave a legacy for your own children, a cash flowing business that's passive? Well, the facts and statistics are there's 76 million baby boomers, but 10,000 people a day are turning 65. 4,000 people a day turn 85, but 90% of seniors want to stay in their own homes, yet 70% are going to need daily care for an average of 3.5 years, you guys. My crystal ball says that they're going to need home care and assistance. I mean, if someone handed you a crystal ball in 2008 or even 2020, might you have played differently? That's this exact opportunity. It's right in front of you. But I know some myths and misconceptions are popping up in your mind right now. Like, am I going to have to work in the home? And the answer is no. Listen, I don't work in my homes and I don't teach people to work in their homes. I show you how to work on your business, not in your business. I show you how to hire the licensed appropriate staff, the licensed administrator who's going to hire your licensed caregivers, and they are going to do all the day-to-day work with the seniors in the home. You own and operate the real estate and the business, and you are not working in the home. You're not licensed to do that. That's not what I'm showing you to do. The liability, is it going to be through the roof? Nope. It's about $2 to $3 per day per resident. It's really a line item. It's definitely something that you want to have. It will protect you and the residents and your care staff, but it's not something that's going to break the bank. And so in our training, we show people how to get, educated and connected with the right liability insurance agents. You can't find good employees these days. Ooh, these are fighting words, you guys. I have a real hard time with this one because the reality is that in big box facilities, they are having massive turnover and they're having a hard time finding amazing care staff. But in our homes, it's quite the opposite. You see, when a caregiver is offered a job opportunity and paid the exact same thing, and in one environment, they're overworked, right? 30-to-1, and they never feel like they can get their head above water. Their staff who's above them, their, bosses don't appreciate them, don't thank them, don't, collaborate with them to say, how can we improve this situation? And then they get to go work in the same environment because you realize that their heart is for seniors. They're going to work in this industry no matter what. But they actually have staff that respects them, wants to hear their voice, appreciates them, says thank you, and gives them a much better working experience. Trust and believe they are a lot more loyal over here, and they're very excited to show up to work because they love these seniors. They want to be with these seniors. They really are dedicated and committed to your home. Do you need medical experience to do this? You do not, but if you are a doctor or nurse, or you're married to a doctor or nurse, or you want to partner with one, that's great. It could be a feather in your cap when it comes to marketing the home as a doctor-owned home or a nurse-owned home, but you do not need to be a medical professional to do this because, again, you are not working in the home. You're not licensed to do that. An HOA won't let me do this. Just not true. Okay. An HOA can say, hey, no, you can't do this, but their no really doesn't mean anything because of the Federal Fair Housing Act, which is a federal law that protects people with disabilities. Well, if you need help with 3 to 5 ADLs, you are considered disabled. And so this is a protected class of people. And so within these homes, right, we are protected against any state, city, county, HOA, or angry neighbor who tries to tell you no. Now, I'm not saying that they're not going to try. They sure as heck may try. So if there's a neighborhood with an HOA and one without it, go to the one without it. Why pick the fight? But just because they say no doesn't mean they're going to win. we created the RAL National Association that represents all 30,000 group homes across our country. And so when you run into an angry neighbor or someone who's trying to say no, who are you going to call? Not Ghostbusters, Roundup, and we've got your back. We've got lawyers there who will get you a nice letter or help show up to the meeting with you and fight that battle with you. Seniors can't afford this. It just not true. We're going to go through exactly how to target the seniors who will work in your area to make this happen. At the end of the day, it's a single family home being used to cash flow more than all the other single family investment opportunities. But what are the 3 smartest options for you to participate in RAL? Well, first, you could own the real estate and lease it to an operator. We call this being a preferred real estate provider. So you would get a home, fully renovate it, add more bedrooms, bathrooms, sprinklers, ramps, guardrails, handrails, elevators, whatever you need, chair lifts. Do all of the renovations, get it ready to go for assisted living, and lease it to a company who's going to rent it from you and run their business within your home. They will be willing to pay you up to twice the fair market rent. Why? Well, you just did all the hard work for them. You just put up all the upfront capital to get that up and running and ready to go, and they're willing to pay you for the hard work you've done. They're also not a single family signing a 1 or 2 year lease. They're a business who's trying to plant roots, who's trying to establish a reputation and a brand. They're going to want to sign a 3, 5, 8, or 10-year contract with you. There's not a lot of turnover. So you don't have to worry about vacancies and finding a new family to rent it to every year or so. When I say that they're a low impact tenant that requires little or no maintenance, this depends on how you set up your contract. But when you come to our training, we show you how to do that. And really, there's no teenagers punching holes in the wall. There's no pit bulls being bred in the living room or motorcycles being dissected in the dining room. No, 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 no. The worst thing that happens is grandma's little chair goes back and forth one too many times, and we've got to, patch up the little wall right there. But really, it doesn't require a lot of maintenance. And that's a wonderful thing for you as the landlord. The second way you can get involved is to own the real estate and operate the business. This is what we do. This is what most of our students do. And this is how you can control the entire business and operations, as well as this is how you can cash flow the most. In a moment, when I go through the numbers with you, this will be the category I'm referring to, category number 2. Okay. Number 3, maybe you are on this call because you've got deep pockets and you are an accredited investor and you would like to lend to someone who's going to do this. Well, you could be a private lender or JV partner. Many people come to our events just to network, just to rub elbows and meet other people who are going to be educated on this, and they may need your capital to get started. You wouldn't own the real estate, you wouldn't own the business, you'd just be investing in someone who's looking to do this. So how much money can you make? Well, I know everyone is coming in from all across the country, and so I need to ask, how much does assisted living cost in your area? This is a great website. Feel free to screenshot it, write this one down. I love it. Go to genworth.com/cost of care. When you go here, you're going to be able to type in the area where you're looking to invest, and it will show up with the average rates in your area. Now, the reason I love this site is because there's a toggle button. So you see, my mom isn't going to need assisted living for another 25 years. Well, I can bump that up and I can project how much it's going to cost in the next 25 years. You guys, the cost of care has gone up 89% over the last 10 years. Do we think it's going to keep going up? Oh, you better believe it. It's getting scary. And so if you don't have a plan, your money that's sitting in the bank is not going to be worth the same today that it is in 25 years. It's going to be worth a whole lot less. You need to find a plan to help you cash flow. And I know that that's why you're here. So what states have the highest assisted living rates? Well, DC's at the tippy top. They may not be a state, but they're printing money over there. $6,978 on average is what people are paying for assisted living there. Alaska's up next, then Rhode Island, Massachusetts, New Jersey, New Hampshire, Washington, Delaware, Maine, Hawaii, and Connecticut. Within a state, There are differences though. For example, California's state average is 5,570, right? And Santa Rosa's average is 7,477. But San Jose, 6,365, right? And then Fresno, 4,138. Stockton, 3,871. Now, this does not mean if you love mom, you move her to Santa Rosa. And if mom didn't love you, you move her to Stockton. No, 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 no. Okay. Okay. If you live in San Luis Obispo, mom is probably coming to San Luis Obispo. You are the adult child who's typically choosing and paying for their care. And so keep that in mind that we are going after the daughter Judy's, not necessarily the senior themselves. If you had one RAL home providing you an additional $10,000 a month, would you be more confident and secure knowing you could pay your bills easily and stay in control financially? Would you be more comfortable knowing that you had a place for yourself or your loved ones to go if and when you ever needed care? Or would you be more fulfilled knowing that you're actually making a mark and making a difference in the world? Maybe you're to that phase in your investing journey and you're like, I just want to make a difference. Well, hopefully RAL is starting to really make sense in your mind and give you that tick, tick, tick as we're moving along. So how can one home get you to your freedom number? Let's get into it. I'm going to use average numbers. We learned earlier that the average across the country is $4,500 per month times 10 residents. We talked about how you're going to be able to have somewhere between 6 and 16 residents in your home. So 10's in the middle, and that makes for some easy math for us at $45,000 coming in every single month. Again, this is not with a 3-bed, 2-bath. This is with a luxury upscale home in a nice part of town. Now, in our training, I go through these in depth. I got to show you the high end and the low end of where you need to be falling in each of these categories. But for the sake of me whipping through this today as fast as I can, I want us to focus on the two numbers at bottom, 20,000 versus 30,000. 20,000 is if you plan to be the candlestick maker, the cook, and the baker. You're going to live in the home, work in the home, wipe the seniors' bums, do the grocery shopping, bathe them, help them get out of chairs, do the activities for them. No, 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 no. This is not what we teach. This is not what we do. I want to show you how to hire the licensed appropriate staff to do that for you. And so I want us to use the higher number where we can afford to pay for the staff to work in the home. Going back to our example, we bake in our overhead, but we need to leave room for the mortgage, the debt service, or the rent. In most parts of the country, we can still get a pretty nice home for $5,000 a month, and that leaves us with $10,000 of monthly net income or $120,000 of annual net income on one average RAL home. Not bad. But I'm not average. And I don't think any of you listening are, because you wouldn't be up on a Saturday in the middle of your week, right? Listening about how you can better improve your life if you were average. Just you being here tells me that you're not average. So let's go a little nicer. Let's go a little better. Maybe we're charging $5,700 times our same 10 residents, bringing in $57,000 every month. Our overhead stays the same because it's the same 10 residents in the home. It's the same amount of work staff that we need in the home. It's the same amount of food and cable and utilities and you name it, but it's a nicer home in a better part of town. Maybe it's a bigger lot. Maybe it's got more bedrooms and bathrooms. Whatever the case is, we've put in $7,000 a month for our debt service. That leaves us with $20,000 of monthly net income or $240,000 of annual net income. Now, that's even better. We just doubled your freedom number with still just one RAL home. Pretty cool. But I want to show you what can happen in markets like Illinois, Kansas, New Jersey, Florida, Texas, where you're allowed to have 15 or 16 residents. One of our students in Tennessee, these are their numbers. They're charging $7,000 for a luxury 15-bed RAL home, bringing in $105,000 of monthly gross income. Now, their overhead is more because they have more care staff because they have 5 more residents. They also have more food, more amenities, more, you name it. This is a luxury home, people. If they want lobster and cheesecake every night, they get it. If they want Hulu and Netflix, we're throwing in, HBO too. Okay. They get everything they want and more because they deserve it in their last years of life. Now, to have a 15-bedroom home or a home that houses 15 people, it's going to cost a pretty penny. We've baked in $15,000 a month for the debt service. Now, this is bringing in our student $40,000 of monthly net income or $480,000 of annual net income. I don't know about you, but I know people who make $40,000 a year. And I also have students who make $40,000 a month. The difference is huge, you guys. This is game changing. This is life changing. This is like, whoa, it has completely changed our students' lives who are going this direction. And for those of you who do live in states where you can have, 10 or more residents and you want to do a luxury home, I'd love to show you how to do that. And I don't just want to show you how to do this once. I actually want to show you how to scale, how to have 3 homes, right, within 20 to 40 minutes of each other. Because number one, if you're going to do this, then why not really do it? But number 2, I want you to be able to share your staff. You see, your caregivers, they're going to be doing like a 12-hour shift more than likely, which means that they're like a nurse. They may be 3 days on, 4 days off, or vice versa. But let me tell you something. If they are, 3 days on, 3 days off in your home, they're not off those other 3, 4 days. They're probably working for someone else's home or facility down the road. But if you have multiple homes, they can work 3 or 4 days for you here, 3 or 4 days for you here. You don't pay overtime and they get to stay in the same work culture and environment. It's a win-win-win for everyone. Now, I want to get through the 5 keys to success before I jump into your questions and share with you how you can connect with me and my team. And then we'll get you back to enjoying your Saturday. We can't talk about real estate without talking about location. But when it comes to residential assisted living, it's about these 3 Ds: density, demand, and demographics. This is not if you build it, they will come. You have to know exactly the market and that it's going to work there. You need to do that internal feasibility study and determine the density of this market. What is the growing demand and who lives there? What are the demographics? When it comes to the 5 levels, we do not want to do a level 1 home. Okay. We do not want to leave grandma in a sketchy place, right? Like if you're scared to go there at night, you need to bring your gun. Ladies, you need to bring a friend. Like that's not where we're doing our care home. Okay. I don't care how good of a deal you can get on that house. We don't leave grandma in the ghetto. Okay. But we also don't need to go to level 5. We don't need to go to the tippy top and have the nicest home in the nicest part of town with, manicured lawns and a guard at the gate who says, "Who are you coming to see here?" And you even need permission to enter the neighborhood. We don't need to go that top. We just want to stay in the sweet spot. If $4,500 is the national average, and when you went to Genworth and found out the average in your area, you can redo our little triangular chart here. But I don't want any homes that are charging less than that. I want to be in the sweet spot, that level 3, level 4. Okay. I know level 5 looks nice. Ooh, 8 to 10K per person. Sign me up. Whoop, whoop. But guys, look at the shape of the chart. It gets smaller at the top. Your opportunity zone shrinks because, if someone can afford that, might they also be able to afford in-home care, which is insanely expensive at $27 an hour? Probably. Our students, Donald and Talinda, they said, "Thank you to the REL Academy. It's been amazing the support we've received from you guys. We wouldn't have been able to make this journey without you." They opened a 12-bed memory care home out in Kansas City. And that's something I love to teach people about too. The differences between residential assisted living and a residential assisted living that's also licensed for memory care. How you can get more from your residents and be able to attract a wider audience of residents. Number 2 is your team. Listen, in other forms of real estate, you can DIY. You can be a solo, guy or gal out there doing it all yourself. But in RAL, no, 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 no. You are not it. You have to build your team so you can repeat and scale. I spend about 5 hours a week on my 3 care homes that are about 30 minutes north of me here, and it is all due to the amazing care team. Mariella, my manager, she oversees all 3 of my homes. She does the hiring, the firing, the payroll, the scheduling. She handles it all. If someone calls out, I don't hear about it. I don't know about it because she handles it, right? She does the marketing, the touring of the new residents, and the resident intake. So we're always full. We always have seniors coming as they're moving on to the next life. And that's so important. She coordinates all of the independent contractors, the chefs, the activities people, whoever it may be. So I just have a weekly phone call with her to basically say, hey, is everything good? Do you need anything from me? And that's really it. That's the point I want to get you to. Down to that 5 hours a week. Cedric and Michelle, they came to our training from California, and he said, I'm making more money with my one RAL home in California than I was as an anesthesiologist. My whole life has changed. I'm providing a huge solution to my community. This is incredible, you guys. Like I said, this can be game-changing, life-changing money, and I hope this is clicking for you. When it comes to the clients, the resident is actually not your client. Well, if they're not the client, then who is the client? If you've been listening, I've said her name. It's not the senior, it's daughter Judy, it's son Bob. It's typically the adult child who determines that mom or dad needs care and assistance. They go out and search for the care and tour the homes and usually choose the home. And a lot of times they're paying for the care as well. They're going to be sending you those love letters with their checks or the complaints, depending on how you communicate. And I should say over communicate with them. We want to market the right audience. Ogita, she took our online home study course. She said, thank you to Rolla. My family's opened 4 homes since we took your course. Thank you, thank you, thank you. She's out in Florida and we couldn't be prouder of her. Number 4 is getting paid. I told you we'd come back to how do seniors afford this? Well, let's dive in. Do not focus on Medicaid. Focus on your private pay residents and maximize LTC insurance. So how do people pay for their care needs? Well, some will pay with Medicare. Some, if they've served even 1 day in active duty, will be qualified for aid and attendance with the VA. Them and their spouse may be qualified. And so that may help subsidize the cost of care. LTC or long-term care insurance, 10% of the population has this. And if you do, amazing, because it will definitely help pay for your care needs. But most people are using their cash, their IRAs, their investments, or selling their physical properties and using that capital to pay for their care needs. Now, there's my last category of seniors who said, I took care of you, so you need to take care of me. They said, I'm going to let the kids figure it out. You guys, failing to plan means planning to fail. If you do not have a plan for your own care needs, for your loved ones' care needs, maybe this becomes the most important thing that you do this year is setting yourself up so that you don't have to make a decision in the face of crisis like me and my family did. Because the reality is senior living is like an avocado. You don't need it. You need it now, right? And then you don't need it again. Just like an avocado, it's too ripe. It's good for like 2 days and then it's, brown. That's how fast it goes. And so if you don't have this plan ready to go, it's not like, oh, I think mom's going to need it in 6 months. That's not how this works. We've had students like Mitch and Jen who they said their vision is to open 100 luxury RALs. They said, we're excited to be in the right place at the right time. They're on home number 26 out in Colorado, you guys. You don't just have to do a 3-pack. You can do as many of these homes as you want. You can package them up and sell them to the hedge funds. I don't care what you do. I just want to help show you how to do this more seamlessly and easily. It's definitely not easy, but systems are what's going to help you get there faster and easier. If you're type A like me, systems will save you time, energy, and money, and systems are critical for success. When it comes to operations, these are the documents you need within your home, like the policies and procedures, the emergency plans, the menus and schedules, all those things that you need to turn in to get licensed on the home. Team building. If you don't want to be working in the home, then we've got to identify, train, and retain the best of the best staff so that you can be down to 5 hours a week. It's not going to be that in the beginning, but I want to get you there by the end. Now, real estate, many of you are pros at this, but the location, acquisition, renovation, There are some minor differences in what you do in RAL than what you do with other investment opportunities. And I need to educate you and show you how to do that so you can go through this faster. Funding. Many of you do not want to use your own money, or maybe don't have money to use for this opportunity, and that is okay. We actually like to show you 7 ways to fund your RAL so you don't have to use your own money. As Robert Kiyosaki says, you're being lazy if you use your own money. Now, partners. Many of you have always wanted to do a project with like a spouse or a niece, nephew, brother, son, daughter, whoever it may be. This could be an awesome opportunity for you to partner with someone in your life and blend, your, love of real estate and investing or whatever it is, and their medical profession or their love of seniors. This could be that opportunity. Now, I can go through success story after success story of our students all across the country, but the real question is, will you be the next success story? I would love to connect with you. And if you want to learn more about this opportunity, feel free to schedule a call with me or my team by using this link. You can also go to ral101.com if for any reason the link isn't working for you, if you're looking at your phone or something like that. ral101.com. I'll write it in the chat if no one is able to write it in the chat for me. You can schedule a call there. You can grab a free webinar. You can download a free book, whatever it is, or you can get registered to take one of our courses. Thank you guys so much for having me here. I am happy to stick around for questions, but I did want to give you that opportunity to connect with us. So thank you, thank you, thank you.
Can you hear me, Isabel?
Yes.
All right, now you can see me. Sorry, I'm rusty on StreamYard. So a lot of great information, and we're going to dive into the Q&A, but I want to say this to anybody who's listening and watching and who will watch it in the future. So I came from the self-storage world before I was at Quest. And if you look at it, there are many parallels between assisted living and self-storage, because what do they both have in common? They're both deeply personal. They're personal businesses, they're personal investments, because in storage, we're taking care of people's stuff, things that have been handed down generation to generation, things that belong to them that mean something. You take it a step further with residential assisted living, you're taking care of the actual person. So it becomes very personal, and we're taking care of that. So I want to make that point before we dive into some of my announcements, but we'll let everybody kind of marinate with that thought before we get into the Q&A. But I want to get past here the disclaimer. We got to let you guys know some great things that are going on at Quest. So we live to educate our clients and our non-clients. And we can't do that without guests like Isabelle and others who give the great information. I mean, the biggest question we get asked, whether somebody uses an IRA or not, where do I find deals? So that's why we create these platforms, so that at the very least, you're connected with people who are doing those things that either A, you're not doing, or B, that you're aspiring to do. So what better place to meet the experts that are doing this than on a self-directed Saturday? Every Saturday at noon, we give a free education. Our in-person events in Houston, Austin, Dallas, once per quarter, coming up in May. I'll have some more information, but it's our Military Appreciation Month, talking about people who have transitioned successfully from the military to entrepreneur. Networking happy hours, fourth Wednesday of every month. We've got investors from all across the United States that congregate here for the same purpose. We're trying to find deals. We're trying to find partners. We're trying to learn and educate ourselves from our peers and people that we ultimately want to be our peers, people that we can actually work with. Every Tuesday at noon, more free education, more great speakers. It can be somebody from Quest Trust Company like myself, or Kamea, who's moderating us today. It can be a guest like Isabelle. The education never stops, because for us at Quest, we feel that is our obligation, is to provide the opportunities for you to know what to do with your personal funds or your IRA funds. And of course, if you ever miss a presentation, they're housed on our YouTube channel, literally thousands of videos. And it's timeless information. It's things that you can apply in any kind of economy, any kind of market, any kind of disruption. So I encourage you to check us out all across our social media channels, but definitely hit us up on our YouTube to watch these presentations so you can continue your education. It starts, though, with taking that first step. That's with everything in life, that first step. For us, contact an IRA specialist. Myself, other people on the team, this is what we do every single day, is we educate you on what you can do and can't do with these types of accounts. So if you've watched this and you want to get involved in residential real estate, assisted living, How can you do that with the IRA? Give us a call, 855-FUN-IRAs, or scan the QR code to get your consultation with an IRA specialist, and we'll work through the process with you, again, to help you ensure that you know what you're doing when you take that step. We call this the Texas two-step. So you get to earn $125 anytime for the next month until the end of March, anytime you open an account. And this is the best part. A lot of companies will run promotions strictly trying to get new business. It's for our people who aren't clients yet, but most importantly, if you are a Quest client, take advantage of this. Open an account, earn some credit, whether it's for your opening of the account, it can be a transaction fee. You name it, you can do it. So again, if you're a client, open up another account for your kids, yourself, whatever. If you're not a client, get yourself in the game, get off the sidelines and start participating. We have a great promotion to incentivize you to take that first step. We're very focused on the millennials as well. So we just learned about assisted living and taking care of our seniors. Well, that next generation is coming. We want to equip the next generation of millennials with tools and resources. So these are coming from the experts, people who are a millennial. I'm an older millennial. I'm 42, so I'm on the old side of it. But we're actually going to bring you real millennial people who have done real estate, done successful investments to help, again, teach you, whether you're a millennial or not. I challenge you, you're going to learn something from these people. Again, the Military Appreciation Month, May 2nd in Austin, May 7th in Houston, May 14th in Dallas. These are in-person events. We'll also be streaming them live as they're happening, and they'll also be housed on our YouTube channel. So if you can't make it, make sure that you log on to YouTube to watch. But I want to stress again, the military gives the greatest sacrifice. They protect our freedoms and make all this possible. They allow us to become successful, and they embody that. But we've brought on several speakers in panel format who are military veterans who have made that next step. They've successfully transitioned to civilian world, but they've also become successful entrepreneurs. So they're going to teach you about the journey of what they learned in the military and how they've applied that to running successful businesses. But the big one for us, guys, this is the 4th annual Quest Expo, June 27th through the 29th at the Irving Convention Center, Las Colinas, just outside of Dallas. If you've been to the Quest Expo, you already know it's one of the best and biggest alternative investment conference in the United States, but we're going even bigger this year. We're going to have 1,000 attendees, about 90 sponsoring companies, 2 full days of education, networking. Again, take that first step. Be that success story that Isabelle talked about, where you're getting yourself in the game. Immerse yourself in this, learn what to do, how to do it, and who to do it with, and who to learn from. So I believe Kamea is going to play a short video about the expo, so don't take my word for it. Watch this video, and then we will come right back on with Q&A with Isabelle.
Right here, right now.
So we are here because we want to meet as many investors as we possibly can. Quest does a great job at putting people here at the event. This event, I think, is great for first-time borrowers, first-time investors, and experienced investors. This event is great for finding funds that could fit their investment needs. I get a lot of business from the Quest event. I talk to people, I network with people, and it actually becomes business after the event.
So there you go. There's just a little bit of a taste of what the Quest Expo is going to bring you. Isabelle, I know you, with the schedule conflict, you won't be here this year, but you have supported us every year in the past, and I can't wait to come out and see your guys' event later this year as well. It's a great relationship, but you covered a lot of ground. And like I said, I learn something all the time listening to these presentations, and we talked a little bit before Q&A about the personal aspect of this. And I bring that up because when we're invested in what we're doing, we're probably going to find a way to make it even more successful. Yeah. And it's the ultimate give back when you can have a successful business model that ensures your security, your family's security for future generations, but you're also doing the right thing and taking care of the people that kind of brought us into the world and took care of us. So it's that cycle of life that I know sometimes we get wrapped up in the money and the dollars. The money and the dollars is the result of what we do. It's the vehicle. It's not the dream. The dream is taking care of people and doing good, doing well. So we've got some questions here to dive into. Let me see, Rob. He's got a 3-2 that he owns free and clear. Can he turn that into a residential assisted living home?
Well, with a 3-2, it can be challenging because, number one, it may not have the right surrounding demographics. What we're looking for is an area where the majority population is 50 to 70 years old, making twice the median income who are typically homeowners. If you're making twice the median income, you may live in a 3-2 because that's what suits your preferences and needs, but you probably aren't, more than likely. And so the demographics may be off in this area, and that's one part to it. But the other part is if you're going to have 10, 12, 16 residents, they're probably not going to fit very well in a 3-2. And so you would need to do a massive renovation, adding 3,000 or 4,000 square feet to the home. Now the home doesn't fit the rest of the neighborhood. And so it may be better to find a home that already has a larger footprint to start with. What your state will tell you is appropriate is typically 80 to 100 square feet per person. What we recommend is 300 to 500 square feet per person. So with 10 residents, minimum a 3,000 square foot home, up to 5,000 is very comfortable. So could it work? Possibly. Is it the best option? More than likely not.
Could be a way to cut their teeth into it, but to your point, I mean, we want to do, ultimately, there's a term, IRR, internal rate of return. It's really the time value of money piece that we're talking about. And you brought up a great point earlier about I could go flip a house, but then what happens after that? I'm out of a job.
Yeah.
Versus that passive where I'm not doing the labor intensive work and my return is 4, 5, 6 times that. That's really what we're talking about, time value of money. So not to say you can't, but be cognizant of that when you're looking at opportunity is what's the return? Yes, but what's the time value of it? That's the real kicker to know what the real return is.
Yep.
Okay, scrolling down here. Come on, we got more questions. Come on.
We didn't answer that one from Bob that popped up. The two stories.
There we go. Thank you. Sorry, I'm rusty. It's my first StreamYard in 2 years. Is a 2-story residential home an acceptable property for residential assisted living?
So I had mentioned earlier that single level is definitely preferred, but you can do this with multiple levels. We have students who have 2-story, 3-story, even 4-story homes. You can make it work, especially if you're on the East Coast where that is pretty much all that's available, right? But you are going to need to add in a chairlift and preferably an elevator. A residential elevator is typically going to run you between 30 and 50 grand. So I wouldn't do that if it's a home that can only have 6 residents or something of that nature. Just financially, it's probably not going to make a lot of sense. But if it is a home that's going to be cash flowing you really well on the later half, that may be a really good investment. That one time, 30, 40K, and you're making that back every month, that's a no-brainer. So it really just depends. But I would definitely say consider adding an elevator if you have a 2-story home. And in the training, we obviously give you recommendations of elevator and chairlift companies that work with our students all the time.
Awesome. So that's the other thing is that I've always picked up on with you guys is, with Residential Assisted Living Academy, you guys are really the first to the dance. I've heard your presentations. I've heard Gene's where we're talking back in the 90s that he saw this coming. And now there's a lot of competition coming into this space, and competition is a good thing. I think it forces everybody to do their best and stay on top of things. But I think when we talk about, differentiators, that's a buzzword that we always use. I would offer up, and again, this is not advice, don't take it that way. But when you're doing your due diligence, that should be a factor of who you're going to go with is these are people that have seen every kind of market, every kind of economy, every kind of disruption from the crash of '08 to what we thought was unprecedented with a pandemic. And nonetheless, you found a way, and several people that you teach, your students have found a way to, in any economy, make this a viable investment. So we talk about what's recession resistant and resilient. Again, it's that parallel to storage. It's because it's personal. Those more personal investments are always going to outperform something that maybe is just a job or something that you're doing. So Deidre asked a great question. What are the dimensions of the bedrooms that you like to see?
Great question. 10 by 10 is okay. 12 by 12 is better. 14 by 14 is even better. Basically, you don't need huge master bedrooms for every single person, but you also don't want super tiny quarters because if they have a wheelchair, you need to have the ability to have it, be able to wheel all around the room very comfortably. Typically, seniors are in a single bed, like a twin bed, and it's typically pushed against a wall for safety. So then that way, when the caregiver gets them out of bed, if it's a king bed, think about it. If they're sleeping in the middle of bed, the caregiver literally has to crawl in the bed and help roll them out. That's not very safe for your caregiver, for their back, and you could cause a lot of injury. So a twin bed's great, kind of pushed against the wall. I would say 12 by 12, 14 by 14 is very, very comfortable for a room, but 10 by 10 works as well.
Great point on that. And a question that I have, because you covered kind of the difference in state by state, and though it's all kind of federally regulated, different states allow you to do different things. Some of the states you mentioned, like Kansas, Missouri, the Midwest, that gets a bad, and I'm from the Midwest. I grew up in Iowa. I lived in Kansas City for 12 years before I moved to Houston. So I love it, but it's that old kind of expression of just because maybe I wouldn't want to live there or you wouldn't want to live there, you're still solving that problem because your point, everybody has family. Everybody's going to deal with this in one way or the other, whether they're the tenant or they're the operator. You know what I mean? So I would stress to people, when you think of Kansas or you think of Missouri or you think of Illinois and kind of the quote unquote flyover states, incredible opportunity. Those are some of the best rental markets in the country. Those are some of the best multifamily markets in the country. So this plays right into that. And when we look at demographics, where are people moving? They're not just moving to Texas, Tennessee, and Florida, Arizona.
Yeah.
They're moving to the Midwest. They're even moving to North Dakota, South Dakota, places where you're like, there's like 20 people there, but it just speaks to the fact that this is a model that can really be successful in any market, in any demographic in the country. Just know what you're doing. And that's what you guys are the experts at. One question, another one from Deidre. Should the bedrooms have en suites, and is that included in the dimensions you mentioned?
They can, but it's not necessarily needed. If you're thinking of a regular, single family home, mom, dad, 2 kids and a dog, right? Most of the bedrooms are not going to have that. They're just going to be a regular, bedroom. And if each setup within the home is going to bring in a different rate from your residence. So if someone's in a private bedroom with a shared bath, right, that's going to bring in a certain rate within the home. If they're in a private bedroom with private bath, that's bringing in another rate. Shared bedroom, shared bath, that's another rate. So we want options within the home because not everyone's going to walk in with a budget that works of $6,000, $7,000. Some people may say I'm more in that $4,000 range. Okay, if you have a shared bedroom, then that works better for them. So options within the home are great, but you don't need every room like exactly cookie cutter the same that they are, in big boxes or that you see in that nature.
Yeah, I would tend to agree with that. And I think that question kind of leads into the ongoing due diligence that you're doing. So it isn't just due diligence on the upfront when you're doing it, but knowing what the demographics are, what are people wanting, what are your competitors doing, what are they offering? Yeah. Again, I keep saying it's that correlation to self-storage, where if we noticed the storage facility down the street was renting 15 by 15s or 20 by 20s or air conditioned, well, now we got to go demo and knock out some 5 by 5s and make them 10 by 10s because that's what the demand is for. So I think it's one of those things where it doesn't have to be a one size fits all, but it's true customization based on what the tenants want, but also what maybe your competitors are doing. Sometimes we figure things out just through other people and other companies and what they're doing. So great questions, great presentation. Again, one of my favorite people. You've been a friend of mine for over 10 years. It's always a pleasure to see you and work with you and your family. Let people know again, how can we get a hold of you?
Yes, feel free to schedule a call at ral101.com. I know you guys put it in the chat. I'd love to chat with you guys more about different ways that you may want to get involved, whether it is just being an investor, owning the real estate, and or operating the business. Happy to chat with you about any further questions or just dive deeper into what might be a great option for you. So thank you guys for having me. And I'm sad I can't be at the expo this year, but it's such an amazing event. So if you are listening and you don't have your tickets yet, get them. It is so much fun. And truly, there's amazing, amazing connections, opportunities, network, speakers, everything. It's just a 5-star event. So I'm bummed I cannot be there, but have so much fun at the event, you guys.
We appreciate that very much. And again, we look forward to seeing you and your team at your conference later this year. Guys, that's it for today. Again, can't thank Isabelle enough. Reach out, take the next step, learn more about it. Whether you do a deal or don't do a deal, just learn more. Equip yourself with that education and learn from the best of the best. So again, I'm Kurt Power, the business development manager here at Quest Trust. Hoping you guys have a great weekend, and we will see you next week. Thank you all.